Here in the Northern Rockies, dark winter months are outlasted in basements, dens, and nooks where kindred souls gather together to share intel, swap fly patterns, and relive the memories from seasons past. This gathering spot, known locally as the February Room, is the inspiration for this podcast. No matter the season, the door is always open to those with a fly fishing story to tell. Brought to you by CD Fishing USA, the North American distributor for composite development fly rods and accessories. 40 years of Kiwi ingenuity and graphite technology, now available at cd-fishing.us or your local CD USA dealer. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And remember to go fishing. Here's your host, the Carnobs, and this is the February Room.
She's back, folks. She's tanned. She's bruised. Badly, badly bruised. But she's back, and she made it back from Baja. I am joined today by our co-host, our producer, our one and only Lauren Carnop.
You know, it's so funny that you say bruised because I had to go to the grocery store. I'm like, I'm just going to wear shorts and a t-shirt because I had to go to the grocery store. And I passed this woman and she looked at me because I had so many bruises on my arms and on my legs. And I'm sure she was like, oh my gosh, this poor woman. Like, she could not stop staring at me. And, you know, the reason why I got those bruises is because of the boat. And the main reason is because every time we had to go pee, there wasn't a ladder. We had to jump in and...
They didn't have a bucket for you.
They didn't have a bucket for us. So we would hop in the water and then quickly pull ourselves up. But with the waves hitting, you just, it was a lot of...
Do they not get a lot of ladies?
You know, that's funny that you say that because Ramon, our fishing guide, has been guiding for 35 years. And this is his first all-ladies fly fishing trip.
How's that possible?
He's just never seen all ladies come out here. And also, where we stayed, they've never had an all-girls group. But what was really cool, we went with our fishing guides were a father and son. And we were rooster fishing.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it was kind of like we were all family out there in those waters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did your Spanish come in handy?
Absolutely. So... You know, preparing for this trip, I went to Missoula's Adult Learning Center and took the Spanish course for 3 months. And I listened to Spanish podcast every day for 30 minutes. And I took tests for 5 minutes a day. And I think I did really good. Actually, one guy did come up to me and said that my Spanish was better than his English. So I feel like that was a win.
Could he even speak English? Or?
I mean, not well.
That's very subjective. Very subjective backhand. Could have been a backhanded compliment.
I didn't think of it that way. I mean, when I talked to him...
Your Spanish is pretty good. Like, you took it for 4 years in high school, right? I mean...
4 years in high school and then, 3 years in college.
Yeah. Like, I've been to Mexico with you, and after a few days, you're pretty damn fluent.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to me, anyway. And
if I have a couple of beers, I'm really fluent.
Yeah,
I can really throw it.
That improves my Portuguese. I speak Portuguese after a six-pack. Well, the trip looked amazing, sounded amazing. You really went to extra lengths to prepare yourself for this trip. And I've got to believe that played a big role in your success in the successful catching of 2 rooster fish, right?
Yeah. You know, I think what prepared me was casting every day, but being my first time ever saltwater fishing, nothing can ever prepare for you the moment that you see those fish. The conditions where we were fishing, the water was really cold for them. Not for me. I mean, I jumped in there and peed, so everything was fine for me. It didn't feel cold. But rooster fish really like it when the water is really warm because when they come up to eat the bait fish, they like it that the water's a little bit warmer. So they'll stay up there a little bit longer before they dive back down. But because the water was completely pretty cool all around, the rooster fish would come up. And the technique for catching rooster, the guides would have a bucket of like sardines and they'd throw out a few just to get the roosters to come out and move. And as soon as they throw out those sardines, you have to cast. So not only do you have to be technically a good caster, you do have to have a lot of luck on your side that those roosters have decided to eye your fly before the other ones. So you have to mimic really fast. And so, yeah, the very beginning when I was on that bow of the boat, Ramon Sr. takes a couple of bait fish, throws it in the ocean. And I didn't even have my fly off of my fly rod. It was still kind of hooked onto the fly rod and the eyelet. And I go, oh my gosh, they're here. And he goes, the fish will wait for you. And I realized
that's not
now,
a Mexican accent.
I know.
Whatever.
It's so bad. The fish will wait for you. God, Justin, stop it. But anyways, no, the fish do not wait for you. I realized real quickly that Ramon Sr. was very funny. And it just happened so quickly. It happened so quickly, and it's a big waiting game with those roosters. So, the first day didn't catch a rooster. Second day didn't catch a rooster. Was it the third day that I caught the rooster?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, that was day 3. Yeah, that's the day I got the photograph.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Or was it day 4?
It was day 4.
Yeah, so I caught it on
Thursday. Day 4.
And can you relate to this when you've been fishing for a really long time? And I have positive energy. Every time I went on in that boat, I was like, I'm not going to be getting myself too bummed out.
You always bring the vibe.
So I'm like, okay. But I'm not going to lie. There was a moment where I was laying in bed and I was trying to be like, I'm getting a little bit bummed that this hasn't connected for me yet because it happened so quickly. And you don't have that many opportunities to catch roosters. It's not like you go to the ocean and there's just, I don't know, roosters. Have you experienced that before where you're kind of getting to the end of your trip and you've committed to this for 3 months and it's not happening for you and you kind of are getting a little bit down, but you're kind of don't be down, you still have some time, but you're like, what if I don't catch one? That's going to feel not great.
Well, every time that I've gone permit fishing,
yeah,
I've experienced that.
Yeah.
And you know how you cure that, right?
Uh-uh.
Booze.
That's probably the worst way, though, to go the next day and fish.
It is the worst way. It is the worst way to deal with it. And then you're totally not in the game at that 1 second that you get your opportunity where
shaky.
It pans out. You're shaky. You're not well rested. This saltwater fishing is like an athletic event.
Yes.
You need to show up with your A game. You need to be hydrated. You need to be well fed. You have to be mentally prepared. And you have to have all the muscle memory intact to make those quick reactions like you're speaking of. Where, boom, all of a sudden the roosters show up. You got 30 seconds to catch one for the day.
Yes.
So it really comes down to 1 or 2 casts, and that's you either make it happen or you don't. And all that preparation that you did ahead of time came into play, and you were ready when the moment presented itself. Sure, you missed some fish the first few days. I'm certain you did, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, because what you talk about muscle memory, it was really hard for me not want to hook set as a trout, and. Ramon was like, a mano,
I told you that many times. Everybody tells you that, but it's not hard because that's your muscle memory.
Don't worry, I'll be taking some.
Believe me, I did the same thing the first time. Everybody that I know has done that same thing the first time that they go saltwater fishing because it's their muscle memory.
Well, and I'm sure I'm going to be going on these trout rivers and just doing el mano, and you're going to be like, what are you doing? And I'm going to...
We'll just go streamer fishing from now on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But I remember before we went on this trip, and you have this kind of anxiety before doing something like this. First off, I've never gone saltwater fishing, and I just grabbed a group of ladies together, and it was incredible. But I remember you told me, I said, I'm really nervous, Justin. And you said, I can't wait for you to experience saltwater fishing because once you do it, you're hooked. No pun intended. And it really does get into your bloodstream. You just can't wait to get back on the water and make it. And also it was great fishing with all ladies. Everyone, I was with my really good friend Ashley, Molly, and Katie. And, it's still a guys club down there. There was a lot of great guys that would come over and just say how great it was to see all this women supporting each other. And we were always going down with smiles. And
to see all these women supporting each other,
yeah,
like they were on board with what you guys were doing. That's cool.
And then there was some guys that I think we completely confused them because
they're like, "Where's the husbands?"
Yeah, and someone did ask us, we were walking the beach, and we're like, "What are you guys doing here? Where's your husbands?" And we're like, "No, we're here fishing."
A group of men?
Yeah, just like walking the beach, like,
that's
you're here.
Creepy.
Well, I mean, there's like other lodges there,
You know what they say in Belize when you're walking the beach with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever? What they say, what they yell at you, right? They say, "Watch where you walk."
Huh? I don't even know what that means.
It means that they're gonna go to the bar, and if you get too drunk at the bar, they'll take your gal.
No,
watch where you walk.
Where we were, I mean, it was
Anyway,
just
that's in Belize.
Okay. But no, and then I think we also really confused this guys club because I think there's been so many set ways of how people fish there. They get on the boat, they take it seriously. There's no music, there's no dancing, there's no laughing. It's quiet. And I think when you have so much quiet on the boat, it brings more intensity into the environment that you're in. So we were like jamming onto some of our music. We were dancing.
Having fun.
We were having fun. But when the moment came, we took it very seriously. Like, we had a lot of fun, but we took saltwater fishing very seriously. Like, we were a job there, and we met this wonderful, and I hope he's maybe listening to the podcast because I told him to listen to it. His name was Gene. And he said that we're just mixing it up in a good way. That it's good not for it to be a all boys club. People there are really good. But yeah, there's sometimes you'd see some gentlemen walking up the docks and their shoulders were hunched over, because you carry that back. And we try to be like, new day. Like, thanks for the experience. Thanks for taking us on the water. Because I also caught an amberjack and what I think the locals called a striper fish that was good for baiting ahi. So even catching the fish that I wasn't even targeting was really fun to catch.
You caught an amberjack, huh?
The amberjack.
That's cool. Those are awesome. Those are, take an amberjack any day. Those are really, really great game fish. Yeah.
But, we talked about expectations for this trip. And I think the expectations, I thought I was going to just be swimming with rooster fish.
How did you think that?
Well, I don't know. It just seemed easy. Every time you looked up at the place where you're going, everyone's holding rooster fish.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That's how the whole fly fishing industry has been since magazines were around and books were around, right? Like, now it's social media, but like when I was growing up, it was all saltwater magazines or any fly fishing magazines, and I'm like, all I need to do is go somewhere salty, and I'm gonna just pound big bonefish, tarpon, permit, whatever. All I have to do is show up. That's the way that they make it look, but that is definitely not the case.
Yeah, I literally thought, I was like, who's going to be the first one to catch a rooster? I just thought we were all going to catch a rooster a day. I mean, I had no clue, and I think that was really fun too.
Because it was so challenging.
Right. You know me, I don't like it to be too easy, so that was probably really tough.
Well, we got to give a shout out too to the Ben Fly Shop.
Yes.
And the Missoulian Angler, who both gave us good advice. They both fished down in that specific spot. Mm-hmm. So they both advised us on lines and flies for your trip. And then having the chance to go sit with Tom Latterell of Bespoke Bugs while he tied those specific flies. So did you feel like you had a good fly selection?
Oh, absolutely. Tom's was great. And I think you make a really good point is that I think before you go to any destination, find somebody from your friends or somebody that you can reach out via Instagram to just be like, what do you think I need for this trip? And bring all your gear. Bring everything that you think you need for that trip, because don't expect someone else to have it.
Never. I never expect a guide to have a fly anymore. I just always travel with what I think I'm going to need.
you need things to move really quickly. So just make sure you have your own gear just to give it to them, because you know where your stuff is.
And extras.
In
case one of your friends doesn't have something, or you break
Yes.
something or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had 4 10 weights, and 1 10 weight we didn't even use, but it was just put up there just in case something happened. We're saltwater fishing in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's
And air travel. I mean, that's...
Oh, gosh.
I usually put 2 rods in a separate bag, split things up a little bit if I can. So, I have what I would need in 2 different places.
Yeah.
But
I just feel extremely grateful that I almost was telling someone I felt that I was a 7-year-old girl who invited some friends to come to her birthday party, and you just wonder who's going to sign up and show up. And I had 3 friends that signed up and showed up, and it still chokes me up that people were like, let's go fishing with Lauren, and not knowing anything that we were doing. So I know.
They followed you into
They
battle.
followed me, and they looked at me, and I had no clue what I was doing. And so I think it was a lot of patience, but I always feel very grateful when someone says, yeah, I'll go fishing with you, Lauren.
Those girls are troopers, though.
Yeah, that made me really happy.
They're all gamers. Well, your one friend fishes quite a bit, I think, but the other gals, they were practicing ahead of time too.
Everyone was. And we had one lady not catch a fish, Katie.
Well, what kind of gear was she using?
I'm sure she was using 10 weight. I know.
Was this non-CD gear?
It was non-CD gear.
The only person that didn't have a CD rod was the only person that didn't catch a fish, huh? Interesting.
Oh.
Anyway,
we
sorry.
can go. But what we were saying about, what I could say about Katie is that it was not because she wasn't technically unable to catch a fish.
Oh, sure. No, a lot
she
of that
casted that.
Comes down to luck.
That last day, her fly was always in the water. She casted her heart out into those waters. And I think that's kind of really beautiful. And we were all just like, but she got off the boat and she just loved the experience. I mean, we all left our little part of our hearts in that, with those roosters, even the ones who Katie didn't catch, because she had one fish that ate it, but just didn't connect. I mean, sometimes you just don't know how that rooster ate that fly. Is it on the side? Does it come?
Yeah. No, luck is a factor.
You just have to remember you're fishing in the ocean. There's a lot of elements that can go wrong.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong in the ocean.
Exactly.
And that's really fun. So yeah, planning another ladies trip in the future, and I'll send my invites and see who says, yes, Lauren, I'd like to go fishing with you.
Go to thefebruaryroom.com, where you can access a complete library of our podcast and read more about our guests, their fishing stories, and favorite fly patterns. We're always looking for exceptional fly fishing yarns, and if you have one to spin, shoot us an email at info@thefebruaryroom.com. The February Room is always free, but if you feel like throwing a nickel in the pond, we appreciate any additional listener support. For companies and individuals interested in sponsorship opportunities, please contact us for our media kit. Thanks for stopping by the February Room, and we'll see you down here next week.